Ready?
I am.
Hello, and welcome to a conversation about the Pomperaug Regional Community Center project. My name is Ed Edelson, and I'm joined by Kathy Bauer. We were both involved in the forming of the Pomperaug Regional Community Center, and some of you may not be aware of this effort, and we thought it would be a good idea to provide some history and maybe a little bit of a look to the future.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me here today for this discussion. I have 3 children in the school district and in the region, so I was able to determine that there's a void there personally for the youth in the community, a place to gather, a safe place. And I think the beautiful thing about this, by the time we started to vet this a little bit, we determined that not only were the youth lacking with a good general facility, but also we're talking about multi-generational use that we didn't have here in the community that could be offered through something like a regional center. Well, that was a nice thing about this project. As we started to develop it, we realized that it wasn't just going to be something like a gym and swim that you would see at one of the gyms in town. This would be something multifunctional. We would make sure that the use of the property would be not just maybe a theater, but also a gymnasium, various things that could be used in this single space. So that was one of the early on issues that we tried to grapple with, is how do you make this space make a lot of sense for everybody in the community. Well, I think that was a remarkable process because we did a deep dive. We wanted to make sure we were doing this in a way that was educated, and of course bringing in, since you and I, neither of us are community center project builders in the past, right. We knew we needed the guidance of someone or something or an entity that understood this process. So that's where the Jim O'Rourke and the tie to the YMCA became so pivotal, and they were actually able to bring in the national YMCA to offer some guidance on that as well, because we have to be careful that we're not oversaturating the market with a similar product, and that we, since we wouldn't necessarily know what's the right location for a project like this. I had great belief in the project. I thought it was a needed and valuable thing, and it had an offering for every single person in the community. And importantly, as you mentioned, this wouldn't be a tax dollar expenditure. Mm-hmm. It would be a not-for-profit where we could build this through grant dollars and contributions, private contributions. But in the end, we also knew that we needed the collaboration from the town in order to make a project like this work.
So, as you said, we got to work, formed the actual LLC, the corporation, as a 501c3. Again, with your help to make that happen.
And that was beautiful, of course, because that allows us to start to see some funds come into the project in order that we could cover some of the initial work that we had on this, including an architectural rendering and things of that nature.
2015, I no longer was First Selectman, but we hoped the project would continue. Unfortunately, I think that didn't happen.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Ed, you were the real impetus to the entire project, and nothing would have even started without your diligent and leadership and really just pulling all the right people to the table and bringing that energy. And even though it wasn't necessarily, a town project, it's certainly, we needed the collaboration in order to take a project like this and make it function. You need that collaboration, you need that partnership. And we needed Ed Edelson, to be honest, in order to make this project work. Well, just on that front, I think also the other thing to think about is that we not only were not planning to use taxpayer dollars, but we also looked at this project as a way to maximize some of the non-used property owned by the town in Southbury, which is just sitting there with no benefit to anybody. So we thought, hey, let's take a look at what we already have in the community and make this a win-win, situation.
No, and to be clear, we did identify a piece of property that we thought was in the right place, got confirmation from the National YMCA, who does things like siting of community centers to be successful, and they concurred that that was a great site, and it was basically surplus land of the towns.
Right, and we should add to that. That was after really identifying every bit of property in this community, and not even just in Southbury. We looked regionally
Yes.
to see where else could we build this that would make sense. And so the standard, the Southbury Training School, various other locations within town and elsewhere, where we wanted to really vet it and make sure that whatever we considered, we could be in a position of we needed to know in order so we could explain all of this to others and why we had identified that particular piece of property, which, by the way, we put on our boots and walked through.
Yes, we did.
Brambles and wires and wetlands and various other things in order to really get close to the project and look at the property. Hey, Ed, I'd hope that you would have some leadership in this region so that we could get projects like this intelligently thought through, funded, and brought to fruition for the benefit of everybody in the region. And that's why I strongly endorse you, Ed Edelson.
Well, thank you. And thank you for listening. I hope you found this interesting, and maybe someday soon we will have the Pomperaug Regional Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good deal.